My wife divorced me by email while I was deployed overseas. She moved her new boyfriend into our home and I just responded calmly. She wouldn't know what I'd done in response until it was too late. The desert taught me patience, watching scorpions hunt at dusk, observing how they waited, motionless, deliberate, for exactly the right moment. My calm wasn't acceptance, it was excavation. I'd known for months. The signs weren't subtle once you learned to read them. Phone calls that ended abruptly, the way her voice changed texture when she mentioned Dorian, her Pilates instructor, the particular brightness in her emails that had nothing to do with missing me. What she didn't understand was that I'd already been doing the math, not revenge math, something older, more fundamental. The house wasn't in both our names. It was in mine alone, purchased 3 years before we married with money my uncle left me. The bank accounts she thought were joint? I'd established them as individual accounts with her as an authorized user, not a co-owner. Every asset she assumed was ours existed in a legal architecture she'd never bothered to examine. While she decorated our bedroom for another man, I was signing different papers, not divorce papers. Those would come from her lawyer soon enough. I was signing quitclaim deeds, transferring the house to a trust I'd established. I was restructuring accounts, removing authorized users, creating legal distance that would take her months to untangle. The day I read her email, 3 paragraphs of rehearsed justification, followed by, "I hope we can be mature about this," I sat in a plywood-walled office that smelled like diesel and dust. Around me, people were orchestrating supply chains, managing logistics that kept people alive. I thought about infrastructure, how easily things collapse when you remove the right supports. I didn't respond with anger. I responded with documentation. Every text message where she'd discussed community property, every email where she'd claimed joint ownership, every social media post where Dorian had tagged our address as his location. I sent them to my sister, who happened to be a paralegal, with instructions to file everything chronologically. What my wife was doing wasn't just betrayal, it was assumption. She assumed the life we'd built was equally hers to redistribute. She assumed my deployment made me powerless. She assumed my calm meant capitulation. But I'd learned something in that desert landscape, watching structures rise and fall. Foundations matter. Documentation matters. The work you do when no one's watching, that's what survives. When I finally responded to her email, I wrote 3 sentences. "I received your message. I understand your decision. We'll handle everything appropriately through proper channels." Proper channels meant she'd discover the house was no longer marital property. Proper channels meant Dorian was now living in a property he had no legal right to occupy, making him vulnerable to trespassing charges. Proper channels meant every assumption she'd built her new life upon was constructed on sand. My mom called it vindictive. My dad said I was being cold, but my sister understood. This wasn't about hurting anyone. This was about refusing to be erased, refusing to have my labor and investment reassigned without consequence. The truth is simpler than revenge. I'd spent years building something, and I refused to let someone else's rewrite become the definitive version. She'd learned what I'd done when the eviction notice arrived, when her lawyer explained that our house had never legally been ours, when she realized that calm wasn't weakness, it was preparation. In the desert, survival isn't about dramatic gestures. It's about knowing which structures will hold, which foundations are worth defending, and when to let the scorpions have exactly what they've earned.